Okay, so YouTube, Archman here, and as I said last video and the video before last, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the Sebenza 31. Um, so I've only had this Sebenza 31 for, I don't know, 30 hours? No, yeah, probably something like 30 hours. And I have not carried it. I've hardly even messed with it or anything because I've been working and doing other things that involve me not able to play with it or handle it. But you can see it's already kind of absorbed some of the. It's kind of funny, like it's Colorado and I work all the time. I don't know how my hands could be oily, but apparently this micarta is like a sponge. I will say the way this micarta looked compared to my large Nkosi's natural micarta, this one was like bright colored. I guess I should have just not fucked with it and shown it before I handled it at all. But I didn't expect it to do this. But I don't know. You guys may have seen how dark my handle scales of my Carta. I can grab it in a minute. It's in my EDC bag, or is it in my EDC bag? Shit, no, I don't. Yeah, I think it is, which is not far away. It's like 20 feet away from me. Um, but yeah, suffice it to say, you couple of dudes that are watching right now, I'll probably say this again, but first impression, I'm pouring my. I'm going with a not local beer today, Stone Delicious IPA. First impression was just like, wow. Like, I mean, it is super smooth. It feels really, really good in the hand. Um, I haven't, it's been a minute, sorry about the tripod bump. It's been a minute since I've handled to be honest, I actually have not. I don't know that I've ever handled or definitely haven't owned a small 21 with inlays. I had a classic, the classic 2000 inlay, small and large, way back. Geez, man, probably like 2003 or something like that. Um, and then I was a Chris Reeve knife dealer at the time too, so I handled several of them. But honestly, the overwhelming thought that really first popped into my mind the second I cracked the box open and unrolled that Chris Reeve knives cloth and pulled this thing out and handled it and opened it, like literally, it was like, whoa. Like, I mean, it was like a fucking mic drop, like kind of feeling. Just like, boom, this is it. That's it. Like, you know, holy shit. Like, hola. I don't know. It is exceptionally smooth. I mean, this thing is. I really am. I'm really, really surprised at how this thing feels. Um, that detent feels amazing. I love the way that um, the just single click rolling, no shoulder to roll off of. It just kind of rolls over the ball and click locks into place. I don't know. I guess I'm just not used to feeling it on a Sebenza. Um, it's hard to explain, but like you can hear the little double click there. It's not like the 21 doesn't feel good. What's really interesting about it is, yeah, no, you're right. I honestly, I would prefer, that's just Chris Reeve knives. That unfortunately, it's a level, it's a level of bullshit where they're just like, oh no, it's better for you too. Yeah, oh well, it helps us with our machining. It's a little easier for us, but it's good for you too. It's like, I don't think so. It actually 100% creates not only more parts, but more voids in the parts. So, right. Do you have one, by the way? Um, I guess I should, I'll address first off, right off the bat, this kind of like motion thing. I don't know, is it wiggling? Yeah, I don't really want to push too hard on it. That's about as, it may be, I can't tell if the whole damn knife is moving. I was trying to look at it before I did the video, like, so I'll address the lock movement thing, but I can't tell if it's moving or not, or if my whole, is it moving? I don't think it's moving. I think, I think the whole knife is moving. Um, Either way, uh, you know, it feels totally secure. Like, I mean, I think people are like wanting that to like move, so they're like, move, bitch. Like, I don't know, but I feel like I have pretty good faith in it. The Nkosi small plain Jane 31. Plain Jane's the way to go, man. I really love plain Jane. Honestly, if I was to have one Sebenza, it would. I think it would be plain Jane. This thing could change my mind because it feels fucking incredible. I will say too, another thing that's really strange with this is at first I was like, it can't be real, like it, but it's lighter than the Sebenza plane. So probably also the 21 and the 31. But I guess I never really occurred to me. I don't know that I've ever actually had a user or something that I planned on pressing into use, like the same model of like an inlay versus a non-inlay. But kind of oddly enough, I'm going to address that in just a second. But oddly enough, the weights of these are heaviest, next heavy, lightest. And I forget, it's not like a lot. It's like 2.7, or sorry, 2.76 grams, 2.82 grams, 2.86 grams. I think is exactly what it is. But, um, I am not a fucking physicist, but I'm also, not to sound like a fuckface, but one of the smarter people that I know. Um, and I feel like there's an explanation. I don't know what the explanation is for it. Again, though, I let's see. I don't think mine's moving. Let me see. Because the funny thing is, I can see this better on screen. It's like way bigger and more focused than I can get with my eyes. Is it moving? Is that fucking moving? Okay, I'm not gonna press on it too much. Anyway, I feel like it's a geometry thing. Uh, hmm. Man, I don't think you can go wrong, to be honest. Because I think the $100 extra for the inlay is like an appropriate additional cost. But it is completely superfluous. It doesn't even, it's not like it's that much even sexier, I don't think. I mean, I really think that, I don't know, to me, one of the coolest aspects of us, sorry, I got my tripod in a crazy position. One of the coolest aspects just to the Sebenza in general at all is that it's very minimal, and that's part of the sex appeal to it for me. Um, I really like the minimal aspect to it. So I don't know. I don't. I can't say that I would necessarily 100% prefer one over the other. Like, as from my experience, as far as like the micarta adding like basically anything, grip, it does not add any more grip. It gets smooth as fuck down the line. Um, Maybe adds a little bit more hand comfort, maybe, but I think that's extremely minimal. Although it could add up in like a long term use situation. Very little tweaks obviously make a big difference with stuff like that. But no, it does feel really good. I mean, obviously, it feels fucking really good. Sorry, I just had a reminder pop off. Gotta go. Just kidding. But this one also is a double lug variation. You know what's funny is back in the day of the regular Sebenza, I had several regular Sebenzas at that time, and I did not like the double lug regular Sebenza. For some reason, this shit on this side was always trying to wave the knife open. Maybe it's because I was wearing my fucking Genkos. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that long ago. But, you know, I specifically, I had a double lug regular Sebenza, and I think it was the one that I ended up losing in the Arkansas River, but I specifically was like not getting another double lug Sebenza again until, what was it? I guess the Nkosi, large Nkosi, when I was just like, oh shit, man, I can like middle finger flick it, whatever, maybe get in a pinch, a halfway, decent lefty opening. Um, but yeah, that sold me. I was like, you know, next Sebenza I'm getting is going to be at the time 21, but then the 31s came out, so I was like, I'm getting a 31 double lug. So for me, double lug was the most important part of getting a Sebenza 31, and then I also wanted a small. I wanted a small Sebenza 31. I have two large, I have a large 21 and a large Nkosi, and I'm like, that's for me, that's enough. Large Chris Reeve knife folders. Um, I carry my Carruthers EDC as like kind of a larger knife anyway, so like it's not like it's large. It's like 3.25 inches. Um, but yeah, so a little fixed blade is kind of what I'm enjoying right now, or a fixed blade. A little folder is kind of what I'm enjoying right now. Although I did carry my large Nkosi most of the day today. You never can tell. That's a knife person for you. This is what I really like, and then change your mind. This is what I'm carrying all the time, and then not carry that fucking for the rest of the week. You know how it is. But yeah, um, yeah. Overwhelming sensation is, I don't know. This is, it's like the nicest feeling knife that I may have ever handled, ever, out of any knife that I've ever handled. Um, it's fantastic. I can't get over how they nailed this thing. I mean, when I first opened it, I was like, no, 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 no. It's gonna have some fucking play. I was like, oh shit, but because it just like breezed open. Um, this is kind of interesting. I actually just noticed this. Yeah, obviously they. I knew they had to do one thing or the other. I was like, they're either gonna have to take off material and make there be less material in the tang of the blade, or they're gonna have to make the lock bar slightly shorter. And it turns out they decided to go with the tang route. So, you know, I kind of mentioned this in my video when I was talking about the Nkosi, but I'll try to go over just kind of one of the things that I think is going on with this issue with the lock rock or whatever. I wish we would stop using that term. Whatever the fucking, let's call it the 31 Sebenza 31 fever. I don't know. But it seems to be an occurrence. So here's what I think is going on. I think there's a couple things going on. For one thing, like what I just mentioned, they moved some things around. So in this case, they made, I mean, you can see it, they made the tang of the blade a little bit shorter. So that's going to change some things around. And then also with Sebenza 21 and basically any regular frame lock folder, when you open the knife and then you try to close it, the triangulation point is going between, it's between, well, there's no triangulation, I guess, if you're, unless you're, it's two, it's so let's see what I can say here. It's pushing against the stop pin and the stop pin and the pivot when you're pushing down like this, and when you're trying to close the blade, it's pushing on the pivot and the lock, right? Um, so it's kind of wedged between those things. And on the Sebenza and in any like regular frame lock, liner lock, it actually is kind of wedging between the pivot and the farthest edge of contact of the blade tang and the lock bar. And on the 31s, they've moved all that around. So they've actually moved, they've done two things. So maybe they should have made the lock bar shorter instead of the tang shorter. Because what they did is they made the tang shorter and then they moved. So what that does in effect is it moves the contact point this way, right? Just very ever so minute, but you're talking about look how tiny the tolerances are here in the variables, and we all know like when you create like a fulcrum, um, the leverage alters quickly whenever you're taking the short side of the fulcrum and changing it. So yeah, so that's about as far as I can wrap my head around it. But it's essentially they've changed they've moved the point of contact that way when they've also moved it down, because or not down but that way towards the pivot in every way, which has made the short side of the fulcrum shorter. So that means the lock is technically easier to defeat, right? Because like you got the long side of the fulcrum being all the way out to the tip here, and the short side of the fulcrum being like this tiny little increment there. So yeah, and then also yeah, they've moved it this way and that way. So in every way they've moved it closer. They've made the short side of the fulcrum shorter. So that's I guess it is an eyebrow raiser. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Chris Reeve Knives is. I don't think I could think of a knife company that I trust more. But if it was a significant enough fuck up that they had to replace um, a couple thousand knives, I mean that's something that could put them under. Depends on what kind of like insurance they carry, and like if that's a I don't know if that's could be a liability insurance kind of thing or what. Oh man, that stone delicious. It is delicious, that's for sure. But yeah, that's kind of everything I'm thinking in a nutshell. Um, my fucking stop pin, I usually don't keep it in there, like this one here, and my large Sebenza 21. I usually don't keep the little stop pin, or sorry, stop pin, I keep saying that, the fucking lanyard pin in there, because I don't like how it has that, it's hollow that way, it bothers me. Um, this fucker was rattling. I took just the tiniest dab of super glue and put it on the edge of a piece of paper and just rub that in there just a little bit. Let it sit overnight. Now it doesn't rattle. Um, but yeah, that is kind of a bummer. That's one thing that people have kind of complained about. And I'm just like, Chris Reeve Knives says, oh yeah, we have it that way on purpose so that the lanyard can move freely. I'm like, oh yeah, so the lanyard could move freely right into the fucking point of the blade? Perfect. Yeah, go ahead and fucking make that thing loose. That makes all the sense in the world. No, it doesn't make fucking sense. It's the one fucking corner that they decide to cut. I don't really understand it. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Everything else is just tight as a fucking frog's ass, and then the one thing they're gonna do is, I guess it is totally superfluous, but at the same time, so is a fucking Sebenza. But um, yeah, that's kind of that in a nutshell, I guess. I really I really do like the look of this inlay though. I didn't necessarily love it in person. Again, I just was like, I'm gonna fucking buy me a double lug Sebenza, and the only one that I could find, actually I could find two on TrueNorthKnives.com. They had a blue double lug micarta and a silver double lug micarta, and I do love the blue. I really do. but I just was like, I guess my Nkosi's is a double lug silver too, so I just was like, fuck it, I'll get the silver. Um, Man, all things considered, I'm really loving um, small Nkosi. This thing, I've only had it for a couple of days, but I like just the little tiny little bit of heft that it has and the little chunkiness that it is. It's actually a really cool feeling little knife. I'm surprised that I like it as much as I do, especially that I've got this Sebenza 21. I couldn't carry it today because I was again I'm a carpenter, and today I was doing I'm kind of wrapping up a job that I'm on right now, doing a porch. So I was doing like stain and fucking urethane and varnish and all that stuff. I was like, I imagine fucking bringing that shit to work today in case I'm tempted to play with it at lunch and I don't notice that I have some shit under my fingernail or something that I rub on this scale. Because I'm using Sickens, which is a extremely sticky product, exterior log and siding, um, sealant treatment stuff. But I did want to take it with me, didn't I? I was like, oh, you motherfucker. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I want to keep this one as short as I can, being 20 fucking 2 minutes already. But the canted clip, that was something that I was really kind of concerned with. I was like, I really like the clip placement on the, as a matter of fact, out of all the fucking Chris Reeve knives folders, my favorite clip placement out of all of them is specifically the small 21's clip placement, because my index finger fits like perfectly in this little groove here. Um, my kind of calluses here of my hand are just like it always goes like right in the right place on the Sebenza 21, the small Sebenza 21. Just always has. It's just been a great. It's the one thing about the small Sebenza that I'm like feels on purpose to me. The rest of it feels like kind of a happy accident. Like they just made a scaled down large Sebenza and called it good otherwise. But it's a great knife. They're great knives. Um, but I'm happy to report I notice it doesn't feel like they even changed it to me. Like honestly, that could be because of the micarta scale here, kind of beefing it out a little bit. But I was so happy to feel that like it still feels like home. It definitely still feels like home. So, I mean, this knife feels, fucking excellent. Um, the just the little bit of added warmth to the handles is totally noticeable. The lack of that groove going down the center, at least versus a large Nkosi, is totally noticeable. Um, like I said, I do personally think that a plain Sebenza is sexier. I like the look of that better. Just because again, I don't like a busy design. I like minimal stuff, um, and this is slightly busier. Um, so yeah, whether that's worth $100 or not is up to you. I mean, it looks cool on your Instagram photos, obviously, but um, it's hard to say. I mean, is it nicer looking? I guess it's obviously it's up to the beholder. Um, I would say for sure, if I was to find myself in a hardship and I was to have to sell one, going to have to sell one of these or the other, I would be the 21, only because the 21 is going to become a collector's item, and I don't really want to be a collector. I just want to be a enthusiast and knife user. If they were both worth 31s, then in that case, I probably would sell just and I was in a hardship, I would sell the more valuable one. So, Which of these three is gonna continue seeing the most pocket time? The Nkosi, just because it's super new to me, and I really like the way it feels. I really like the way, um, yeah, it feels really good in my hand, even though it's like weird and like all these fucking bumps and grooves and all that stuff. It, I'm certainly enjoying this little Nkosi. Um, yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing like a takedown video of these two and kind of get in, and maybe even all three, and kind of get in there and show the differences of all of them, maybe this weekend. So look out for that, you guys. And thanks for watching. I'm gonna split. Palabra a tu madre.